Have you ever found yourself hesitating for just a split second before stepping off a curb? Or feeling a little unsure when you walk across your own kitchen floor after it's been cleaned? It's a feeling, a quiet, private feeling that most of us over 60 know all too well. But that small hesitation, it isn't just caution. It's a quiet warning sign. You see, in my practice, I have watched how this tiny seed of doubt can grow. It starts small, then it keeps wonderful people from enjoying their daily walks, from visiting friends. Slowly, almost silently, shrinking their world until they feel trapped in their own homes. The fear of falling. It becomes a bigger prison than any physical limitation. But here's something I have learned after 2 decades of helping seniors stay strong and independent. Most falls are not accidents. They are predictable. And because of that, they are preventable. It so often comes down to small, unconscious habits that we've picked up over the years without even realizing it. I'm not just talking about theories from a textbook. Let me tell you about a patient of mine. We'll call him John. At 78, his greatest joy in this world was his daily walk to the park to meet his grandkids. But after one minor slip on his own porch, he became so fearful that he stopped going out altogether. He started walking with his head down, his arms held stiffly at his sides. And the irony is, these new habits he thought were keeping him safe were actually putting him in far more danger. His story is the very reason I knew I had to make this video for you today. Today, we are going to walk through 7 simple habits that can rebuild your walking confidence, right from the ground up. I want to be clear. These are not strenuous exercises. They are small, powerful adjustments you can start making the very moment this video ends, right in the comfort of your own living room. And please, I ask you to make sure you stay with me until the very end. The 7th and final habit involves an item you use every single day, and it's the one most people completely overlook. Frankly, understanding it could be the single most important thing you do this year to protect your freedom and your independence. Everything I'm about to share isn't just my personal opinion. It's based on established principles from physical therapy and geriatric science, all simplified for real, everyday life. Before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of us have felt this. If what I've just shared feels familiar to you, if you've ever had that moment of hesitation, please comment a simple yes below. It helps me understand, and more importantly, it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, let's begin with our very first habit. And I want to start here because, in my experience, it's the number one unconscious mistake I see countless seniors make every single day. Habit number 1. Head position awareness. Now, I know exactly what many of you might be thinking, because it's a habit born from a desire to be safe. We walk while looking down at our feet. It feels safe, doesn't it? It seems like the most responsible thing to do. A natural instinct to watch for any crack in the sidewalk, any wrinkle in the carpet, or any toy a grandchild might have left on the floor. But here is the profound irony I've seen play out time and time again. That habit you think is protecting you, it is actually a trap. Let me explain. Your head is heavy. Surprisingly heavy. I want you to think of it like a 10-pound bowling ball perched right on top of your spine. When you are standing or walking with your head up, looking forward, your body is perfectly aligned and balanced. But the moment you tilt that 10-pound bowling ball forward to look at your feet, you trigger a chain reaction. Your shoulders have no choice but to slump forward to compensate. Your upper back begins to round. And most critically, your entire center of gravity gets pulled forward, throwing your whole body off its natural, stable axis. Now, when we were younger, our postural muscles, those small, stabilizing muscles in our back and core, could correct this imbalance in a split second. We wouldn't even notice it. But as the years go by, and this is a perfectly normal part of aging, those muscles aren't quite as quick on the draw. That small, forward shift in gravity becomes much harder for our bodies to correct instantly. And that is the hidden reason why you might feel more hunched over some days, or why your steps just don't feel as steady and secure as they used to, even on perfectly flat ground. This isn't just a theory. I think of a lovely patient of mine, a lady named Margaret. At 82, she was sharp as a tack, but she was living under a constant cloud of fear. Her beautiful Persian rug, a gift from her late husband, had become her greatest enemy. She was so terrified of catching her toe on it that she would only cross it by staring intently at her feet, taking tiny, shuffling steps. I didn't give her a complicated exercise. I just gave her a new target. I said, "Margaret, when you walk through this room, I don't want you to look at the rug. I want you to look at that beautiful lamp on the end table across the room." The change was immediate. Her head came up. Her shoulders naturally went back. She walked across that rug, and when she got to the other side, she turned to me with tears welling up in her eyes. She said, "Doc, I feel taller." It was never about the rug. It was about where she was looking. This leads us to the wonderfully simple solution that physical therapists have used for years. They call it the 20-80 rule. Spend 80% of your walking time looking forward, about 10 to 15 feet ahead of you. Just let your eyes do the work. The other 20% of the time, that's when you can glance down with your eyes, not your whole head, to check the path. So, starting today, I want you to try this. When you walk from the living room to the kitchen, make a new goal for yourself. Focus on the handle of the refrigerator, not your slippers. If this simple idea about your head being a steering wheel for your body makes sense to you, if you just had a little light bulb moment, take a second and comment posture below. It's a way to lock it in your mind, and to let our community know you're on this journey with us. Habit number 2. Arm swing rhythm. Alright, let's move on to our second habit, and this is one that might just surprise you. It has to do with something most of us stop thinking about after we learn to walk as toddlers. Our arms. The mistake I see is when we stop swinging our arms naturally. We start walking with them held stiffly at our sides, or maybe we keep one hand tucked safely into a pocket. We do it for many reasons. We're carrying a purse, we're holding onto a railing, or most often, it's because of fear. When we're anxious about falling, our entire body tenses up, and that fluid, natural arm swing is often the very first thing to disappear. Here's the science behind why that's so dangerous. Your arm swing is not just for show. It is your body's built-in counterbalance system. It's a fundamental part of human locomotion, this beautiful rhythm of the opposite arm and leg moving forward together. This motion provides crucial momentum, but more importantly, it keeps your torso stable and prevents you from swaying side to side. When you freeze your arms, you are essentially removing two of your most important stabilizers. This leads to a walk that feels rigid, almost robotic. It's not only less efficient and more tiring, but it's significantly less stable, forcing the small muscles in your hips and ankles to work overtime just to keep you upright. I remember a patient of mine named Bill. Bill was a proud former soldier, and he walked with a ramrod stiffness that you could spot from a block away. His shoulders were locked, and his arms were pinned to his sides. He thought this rigid posture projected strength, but in reality, it was making his balance precarious. We didn't do any complex therapy. I simply had him stand in his kitchen, holding gently onto the counter, and I asked him to march slowly in place. His only instruction was to focus on letting his arms move, just a little. After about a minute, he stopped, looked at me with wide eyes, and said something I'll never forget. He said, "Doc, I feel lighter." It was that simple. He had reconnected his upper body to his lower body. So here is your mission. Don't try to force it, and please don't start swinging your arms like you're in a marching band. Just allow it. As you walk, consciously think about relaxing your shoulders. Let your hands be soft, not clenched. Let them move gently and naturally with your steps. You will find that your steps feel lighter, more confident, and less tense. You're not just walking anymore. You are walking with rhythm and balance. This one might surprise you. If you just realize that you, too, have been walking with stiff arms, take a moment to comment swing below. Let's promise ourselves to bring that natural rhythm back. Habit number 3. Heel-toe landing. Let's move down to your feet for our third habit. This is another subtle change that happens over the years, often completely without our awareness. Many of us start walking flat-footed, meaning we slap our whole foot down on the ground at once, instead of using the foot's natural rolling motion. At first, this might feel more stable, like you're planting your foot firmly on the ground. But in reality, this habit is not only inefficient, but it can also be a hidden source of pain and instability. You see, your foot is a marvel of engineering. It was designed to function as a natural shock absorber and a rocker. The correct, healthy way to walk is what we call the heel-to-toe pattern. Your heel should make the first gentle contact with the ground, then your foot should roll smoothly through the arch to the ball of your foot, and finally, you push off with your toes to propel you into the next step. This graceful rocker motion does two critical things. It absorbs the jarring impact of each step, protecting your joints, and it creates a smooth, forward momentum. Now, as we age, weakened ankle muscles or stiff joints can make this flat-footed habit emerge. It feels easier, but it sends those jarring shocks straight up the kinetic chain, into your ankles, your knees, and even your hips. It's a very common, yet often overlooked, reason for that persistent aching in the knees or hips after a walk. It also makes you far more likely to catch the front of your foot on a transition strip or the edge of a rug. Biomechanics studies have confirmed time and again that this heel-first pattern is the most energy-efficient and stable way for humans to walk. I recently worked with a client who was complaining of terribly sore knees, which she had accepted as just a part of getting older. But I watched her walk, and I noticed she was stomping, landing flat with every single step. We didn't need medication or complicated braces. We simply spent about 10 minutes each day for 1 week, practicing a new way to walk in her hallway. Her only job was to focus on that gentle heel roll toe motion. The result was remarkable. Her knee pain decreased noticeably because she was no longer fighting her body's natural design. Here's a simple way you can practice this at home. I call it silent walking. Find a hard surface floor in your home and try to walk across it without making a sound. The only way to achieve this is by landing softly on your heel and rolling gently forward. Stop stomping and start gliding. Let's try it together. If you're going to practice your heel roll toe walk today to protect your joints, comment smooth below. Habit number 4. The power of small steps. Now we come to our fourth habit, and this one requires us to unlearn something many of us were taught our whole lives. We often think that taking big, long, confident strides is a sign of strength and vitality. But as we get older and our bodies change, that long stride can quietly become a serious liability. The problem is simple physics. When you take a very long step, your foot lands far out in front of your body's center of gravity. For a split second in every single step, you are creating a moment of profound instability. You are, in essence, performing a tiny, controlled fall, and then relying on your strength and momentum to catch yourself and push into the next step. When we are young and our reaction time is lightning fast, this isn't a problem. But a core truth of aging is that our reaction time, our brain's ability to sense and react to a loss of balance, slows down just a little. That split second of instability created by a long stride is a much bigger risk for us. It's a window of opportunity for a small slip, an uneven piece of pavement, or a sudden turn to become a serious fall, simply because we have less time to correct it. If you ever feel slightly off balance when you have to turn quickly, or feel like you have to catch yourself after each step, it's very likely that your stride has become too long for your body's current reaction time. The proof of this is something your own body instinctively knows. I want you to picture yourself walking on a patch of ice. Do you take long, confident strides? Of course not. You automatically shorten your steps, keeping your feet much closer together, more directly underneath your body. Your innate survival wisdom knows that smaller steps equal more stability and more control. All we need to do is apply that same wisdom to our everyday walking on dry land. This is why the solution is so beautifully simple. The goal is no longer to cover the most ground with each step. The goal is to stay perfectly balanced over each step. So, I want you to focus on increasing your step count, not your stride length. Think quicker and shorter, rather than longer and slower. Consciously shorten your stride just a little bit. By keeping your feet more directly underneath your center of gravity, you remain in a constant state of stability, giving you far more control and more time to react to the unexpected. This is a big one, because it's about shifting your mindset from power to C. Habit number 5. Core strength is balance strength. Alright, for our fifth habit, we need to talk about the true anchor of your body. Most people I talk to believe that balance comes from having strong legs. And while your legs are incredibly important, they are only part of the equation. The real command center for staying steady, the very foundation of your balance, starts right here, in your middle. We're talking about your core. Now, I beg you, When I say the word core, please do not picture a young athlete at the gym doing hundreds of painful crunches. That is not what this is about. For us, in this season of life, core strength simply means having enough functional stability in the muscles of your stomach, your lower back, and your hips to keep your body upright, aligned, and steady as you move through your day. I want you to think of your core as the strong, solid trunk of a mighty oak tree. If that trunk is weak and flimsy, it doesn't matter how strong the branches, your arms and legs are. The slightest breeze will cause the whole tree to sway precariously. It's exactly the same with your body. Years of sitting more and moving a little less can cause these crucial core muscles to become dormant, to essentially fall asleep. And that is a primary reason why you might start needing to use your hands to push yourself out of a chair, or why you feel like you might just topple over when you reach up to get something from a high shelf. Your anchor has become weak. The good news, the truly wonderful news, is that waking up these muscles doesn't require a gym membership or getting down on the floor. I once had a patient, a delightful woman named Dorothy, who was becoming increasingly reliant on her walker. She was convinced her legs were failing her. I explained this concept of the core, and we came up with a simple plan. She loved watching her afternoon game shows. I told her, Dorothy, every single time a commercial comes on television, your only job is to sit up straight and gently tighten your stomach muscles, as if you're pulling your belly button back towards the spine. Just hold it for 10 seconds. She did it faithfully. Within 1 month, she called me, her voice full of excitement. She said, "Doc, you won't believe it. Today, I got out of my favorite armchair, and I didn't use my hands." She hadn't done a single leg exercise. She had simply reawakened her anchor. You can do this too. I call it the invisible exercise. Right now, whether you're standing or sitting, just gently pull your belly button in towards your spine. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. No one in the world even knows you're doing it, but you are powerfully retraining your body's foundation. Do this while you're brushing your teeth, while you're waiting for the microwave, or while you're standing in line at the grocery store. Who knew building your core strength could be so simple and so discreet? If you are going to try the invisible exercise starting today, comment a powerful yes below. Habit number 6. Awareness of floor transitions. Let's move on to our 6th habit. This one is all about what's happening in your environment, and it addresses a silent danger that is responsible for a shocking number of falls. We spend most of our lives walking on autopilot, especially in our own homes. We don't consciously think about the small, but potentially treacherous, changes in the floor beneath our feet. I'm talking about the transition from the soft, high-friction surface of a living room carpet to the slick, low-friction surface of the kitchen tile. Or the way a shadow cast by a door threshold can create an optical illusion, making it hard to judge if the surface is level. Here's what's happening in your brain. Your brain and muscles are calibrated for the surface you are currently on. When you move from one surface to another, your brain needs a split second to receive new information from your eyes and feet, and then send new signals to your muscles to adjust the tension and placement of your next step. It's a neurological process that happens in the blink of an eye. However, as we age, 2 things happen. First, our reaction time for this process can slow down just a fraction. Second, common changes in our vision and depth perception can make it harder for our brain to even spot these subtle shifts in the first place. That tiny delay, that moment of inattention as you cross a threshold, can be disastrous. It's often all it takes for a foot to slip just enough to throw you off balance. In my years of practice, I can tell you that one of the most common locations for a fall inside the home is not on the stairs. It's right at that transition point between the living room and the bathroom, or the hallway and the kitchen. These are known danger zones precisely because we cross them on autopilot. The solution is a simple but powerful mental trick. You need to switch off your autopilot. You do this by narrating your walk internally, especially as you approach a transition. As you walk down the hall towards the kitchen, I want you to literally think the word tile. As you are about to step from a bright, sunny patio into a dimmer house, I want you to pause for just 1 single second at the doorway. 1 second. That's all it takes to let your eyes adjust and for your brain to prepare for the change in surface and lighting. This conscious act of naming the floor or pausing gives your brain the crucial head start it needs to keep you safe and upright. This is a powerful mind trick that builds a safer connection between your eyes, your brain, and your feet. If you'll start naming the floor in your own home, comment aware below. Habit number 7. The role of footwear. And now, we arrive at our 7th and final habit. I saved this for last because it is, without a doubt, the most overlooked, and it involves an item you and I use every single day. I'm talking about what you put on your feet. We often prioritize soft, pillowy comfort over structural safety. Those worn-out slippers that feel like old friends, or those old, flexible sneakers with the soles worn smooth. These are not just comfortable footwear. They are accidents waiting to happen. Let's be very clear about the science. A proper shoe provides a stable, predictable base for your entire body. If the sole of your shoe is too flimsy and can be easily twisted or bent in half, it's not supporting your foot. It's just a sock with a bottom. If the heel is open, like on a mule or a backless slipper, your heel can slide around, causing micro-instability with every single step. And most critically, if the tread on the bottom is worn smooth, you have effectively strapped a pair of skis to your feet. You have zero grip on tile, hardwood, or linoleum floors. Foot pain, bunions, or swelling often lead us to choose these loose, overly soft types of footwear, but please hear me when I say this. It is a dangerous trade-off. It encourages a shuffling gait instead of a proper heel-to-toe lift, dramatically increasing your risk of tripping. I will never forget a patient whose life was irrevocably changed by a fall in his own kitchen. The cause? A $10 pair of worn-out, backless slippers he'd had for years. That simple slip resulted in a broken hip, surgery, and hospital bills that exceeded $40,000. But the financial cost was nothing compared to the cost to his independence and his spirit. Now, when you think about it that way, is a $70 pair of supportive, properly fitting, non-slip shoes really expensive? Or is it one of the cheapest and smartest insurance policies you could ever buy for yourself? I am urging you to do the shoe test as soon as this video is over. Pick up the shoes you wear most often around the house. Try to bend the sole in half. Is it floppy? Now, run your hand over the bottom. Is the tread smooth to the touch? If you answered yes to either of those questions, it is time to replace them. This is not an expense. It is a profound investment in your safety, your confidence, and your freedom. This is the crucial point I promised you. If you are going to check your shoes after watching this, and promise to invest in your safety, comment safety first below. As we come to the end of our time together, I want us to go back to the beginning for just a moment. Do you remember John? The gentleman I told you about? The grandfather who had become so fearful after a minor slip that his world had shrunk to the four walls of his own home? The changes he made weren't dramatic. He didn't join a gym or start a grueling new exercise program. He simply started with the small things we've talked about today. He bought himself a new pair of supportive shoes, as we discussed in our 7th habit. He practiced his heel-toe walk a few times a day in his hallway, just like we outlined in habit number 3. And he made a conscious choice to start focusing on the beautiful oak trees at the end of his street instead of the cracks in the sidewalk right below him, which was our very first habit. Today, John is back to walking in the park. He's meeting his grandkids again. He didn't magically regain the body of his youth, but he regained something far more precious. He regained his confidence. He regained his freedom. He regained his life. And his story holds a simple and profoundly beautiful lesson for every single one of us. You have so much more control than you think. Staying steady and safe on your feet isn't about some massive, overwhelming effort. It's about bringing small, mindful moments of awareness into the everyday steps you already take. It's about wisdom, not just strength. As we wrap up, we've explored 7 critical habits that can truly transform our golden years. But knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, I have one important question for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video? I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by trying to do all 7 things at once. Just choose one. It could be as simple as, I will practice my invisible core exercise while brushing my teeth, or, this weekend, I will check my shoes. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. Your public promise helps you stay accountable, and more than that, it will inspire someone else in our community to take that first brave step right alongside you. And if you found real value and inspiration in our time together today, please show your support by giving this video a like. It truly helps more than you know. To ensure you continue on this journey with us and never miss another video full of this kind of life-changing wisdom, please hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community. A community of friends dedicated to living our best, strongest, and most independent lives together. Finally, I ask you to think of just one person in your life. A friend, a sibling, a neighbor who needs to hear this message today, and please share it with them. A simple act of sharing might just change their life. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Be kind to your body. Take your steps with strength and with purpose. I'll see you in the next video.